In this video, we're talking about the 4S cycle of success so that you know where your business is right now and what your next steps are to get to that next level. It'll be a game changer, I promise you. So today, we're going to get into one of the most foundational awarenesses and understandings. This has completely shifted my awareness of my business multiple times, and it's extremely helpful. And it's called the 4S cycle of growth. So I'm going to start at the bottom because I want you to see that these stack on top of each other. Actually, I'm going to go from the top. So the highest one is, we'll call it significance. Oh boy. Significance. For those of you that have been around for a while, the fact that I'm not going to rip this off and start a whole new paper shows significant growth on my part. So I'm going to leave that there, however significance is spelled. This S is success. This S is stability. And this S is survival. So the way this works is they're basically phases that go from survival all the way up to significance. And I'm going to explain what each of these phases are in the coaching industry. So the premise of this entire series is that you are a coach or you want to be a coach. A lot of the concepts are going to apply to all kinds of things, but I'm going to keep my examples, suggestions, advice, and so forth inside the realm of the coaching industry. So the first level of foundation is survival. Actually, let me flip it. Let me go up here. Significance in the world of the coaching industry and personal development is where almost everybody, to some degree, wants to go in our wildest dreams, right? We want this business that is phenomenal. We want all of our stuff to go viral. We want to have books and products and programs. And a lot of us want to have shows. And we just want to have this massive empire of influence. So when I think of significance, I really think of it like an empire. And I personally, I do want to have a business of significance. And from a business standpoint, that means a big company. It means products and programs and leverage and a bunch of scaled success, right? Like really expanded reach. A lot of us, though, and I would say that almost everybody in the coaching industry should not be focusing on significance because you're not there yet. But a lot of the people that we learn from are there. And so we will either follow the leader and just do what they're doing from what we see, or sometimes they're actually teaching from what they're doing. And they're not doing it, nobody's like intentionally trying to teach the wrong thing or hurt people or anything like that. So when I explain these things, I'm just explaining for awareness, not like for fault and blame and stuff like that. So a lot of times these people are teaching what works for them or worked for them, but they're teaching to lower levels. They're not teaching to people that are just one level below them a lot of times. I mean, a lot of times those people are in their audience as well. What I'm saying is, if you are not the level just below significance, then significance teaching is not wrong. It's just not aligned because it's not the next step for you. Let's take one step down. The people that are ready for that would be in this category of success. And that means in the coaching world, you don't necessarily have this big old empire yet, but you've got predictable success. You've probably got some money going out for advertising. You've probably got people that are partnering with you and they're either helping you create stuff or they're selling programs for you. You've got community that's growing. Your branding has evolved. You're pretty clear on who your target client is and the best-selling programs or products that you have, and it's all based on experience. It's not based on theory. It's based on you knowing what has worked for a long, long time and you starting to hone in and then finally get to the place where it's a lot more predictable. You've probably tested a bunch of different prices at this point. You've tested different products. You've tested different platforms. You've tested different seekers. You've tested different clients. That's a really important piece that I want you to get. I don't think you will ever get here unless you've tested a lot of things and changed your focus at least a few times, if not a bunch of times, in order to get here. Now, why is that important? Because most people are trying to get here without doing the things that are required to get here. Most people are trying to get here by just figuring out the right thing to do, the right price, the right person, the right program, the right structure, the right everything, so you can just jump right here. I personally don't know a single human alive that's ever done that, but most people are expecting it. And I want that to be really, really clear for you. What it takes to get here is something that most people are trying to avoid. So when you're at the level of success in this framework, this is where, if you have a job, this is where you should probably start thinking about quitting your job for most people. Now, I'm going to talk about financial stress a little bit further down here. So everything that I'm talking about in this framework is individually variable. So when I say something like that, for most people, this is probably where you should think about quitting your job because your business is actually successful. But that might not land for every single one of you because we have different tolerance for risk and money and stuff like that. But most people should not, in my experience, be quitting their job until up here. And most people never get there because of all these reasons that I'm going to hopefully explain to you. Let me know if this is making sense so far, by the way. And I'm going top down for a reason. Success, this is where the majority of the focus is. In the training, in the marketing, in the programs that are available for us to buy, in what people want to get to. The majority of the focus, in my opinion, is here at the success phase. How do we get a successful business? And I'm not just talking about the word success. So not everybody that uses success has this framework. So I'm not saying that this word is always being used in the third level of this framework every time you see it. But inside this framework, whether we're using that word or not, this is where most of the focus is. How do I get a business to here? However, just like I said about this one, if you're not at this level of stability, then focusing on how to get to success is also correct when the timing is right, but not aligned if you're not here. And what I can also tell you is the majority of people in the coaching industry never get to stability either. The reason they never get to stability is because they're trying to jump from survival to success or significance. And if you don't know what this phase is, I'm going to get into it obviously in a moment. If you don't know what this phase is, then you don't know what you should be focusing on here. And if you don't know what you should be focusing on here, in order to even get to the point where you go to phase 2, but inside of the I don't know what to focus on here, you're trying to get to phase 3. It's not going to work. Before I go on, let me explain how this actually saved my business after I was in business almost 10 years. So I had created a lot of foundational success, and I had gotten to the point where my business, after about 8 to 9 years, it didn't take 8 to 9 years to get here. After 8 to 9 years, I had been here for about 7 or 8 years, right? So I'd been in this realm for a long time, and I was trying to get to significance. This is when I was looking at ways to expand my influence and empire and really make a big jump. And then I spent a lot of time out of my business for almost a year for reasons that aren't relevant right now. But I was out of my business for a long time, which means a lot of the things that I was doing in order to maintain this level and the stuff that I had built until this level, those stopped getting focused on, and a lot of them fell off. But then when I came back into my business, I went back to the mindset that I was when I left, and that mindset was, how do I go from success to significance? And you guys, it was so painful because nothing that I tried was working. And I was frustrated. And there's one thing about theoretical failure, meaning I think this is going to work, but it's not working, versus experiential success that now turns into failure, real failure, meaning the stuff that did work, the stuff that I've like depended on for a long, long time, the stuff that brought money and the stuff that was paying the bills. Now none of that stuff is working. That's a whole different level of disruption, let's say. And it wasn't until I remembered this framework, which I used to teach in the very, very beginning, and I just hadn't touched it for a long, long time. I remember this framework, and then I looked, and then I went, whoa, because I exited my business basically and didn't focus on a lot of stuff. It doesn't matter where my mindset was when I left or where my mindset was when I came back in. My business had reverted back to survival. That was one of the most humbling, painful, frustrating, embarrassing periods of my life when I recognized that a business that had been around for almost 10 years, that had made millions of dollars at that point, is now in survival. I didn't want to admit that because it felt like I was in survival. And honestly, I just didn't want to admit it. So then when I recognized, oh, I now have a business that has reverted back to survival, I can't do significance things. I got to do survival things. And then once I get there, then let's do stability things. And then let's get back to success. And then all this stuff is cool. We just got to get back to the point where this is now relevant and aligned. And it was amazing how quickly this shifted for me. And then I focused on the things that my business, which was in survival, needed to focus on. So I kind of took a step back here and spoke to the whole thing. Let me jump back into stability. When you're in stability mode, you've got some sales, you know what works to some degree. It's not all predictable yet. You don't have a lot of leverage. You're building stabilization. You're building automation. You're getting there, but you can only get there through a lot of effort at this level. So I'm going to speak for the next several minutes on this level because this is where most people are. Most people are in survival. In survival mode, you need oxygen. Like if you think about being caught in an undertow, if any of you have ever swam or surfed in the ocean, you get caught in an undertow of the wave and the wave really starts to throw you around. What you need is oxygen. It actually doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are at that point. A lot of things don't matter. You just need oxygen, because if you don't get oxygen, all of your skills are going to die with you. When you're in this mode, your business needs oxygen. Your message needs oxygen. Your brand needs oxygen. And I say oxygen literally and figuratively. So you need oxygen figuratively to breathe, but your message needs oxygen, meaning it needs to get out of this head and come out of this mouth and into the oxygen. You need to do videos. You need to send emails with articles. You need to talk to people. You need to have consultation calls. Your stuff needs to come out of here and it needs to stop being in here and come out of here and get oxygen. Your message will not evolve without oxygen. Your business will not evolve without oxygen. When you're in survival, from a business standpoint, you need money. And I know we talk a lot about, I'm not in it for the money and all that stuff, and I agree with all of that. Your business needs money. Your business uses money as oxygen. Money is the lifeblood of a business. Your focus and motivation and inspiration cannot be money if you're going to live an aligned, fulfilled life. But your business operates on money. So money should not be the goal, but money can be the fuel that gives you the ability to achieve your goals from a business standpoint. And let me also be harsh but honest for a moment, only for a moment though. Your business does not give a damn. Your business does not care about how much you care, because business can't care. There's no caring mechanism in the entity of business. I'm not saying you can't build a business fueled with care and you can care about the people that you serve. Yes to all of that stuff. And the business entity, the one with dollars and cents, the one where money comes in and money goes out, that doesn't have the ability to care. The reason that's really important is you can't get through survival by caring. You can't get through survival by wanting. You can't get through survival by wishing. You can't get through survival through any emotional means. It doesn't matter how much you want to do this, you guys. And I'm being real and blunt and honest with you, because if you don't get this piece, you'll never be able to build a business that actually has the capacity to do what you want with your message, with the lessons that you've learned, with how you want to live your life on this planet. Your business will never be able to create the capacity for you to do your work if you don't separate the emotions from the strategies and just the cold, hard truth about business. Your business will not survive on your emotions. The way to get through this place of survival in business, you got to do a lot of shit. You got to do a lot of stuff. You got to try really hard. You have to fail. You have to not know what's going to work and take action anyway. You have to question yourself. You have to doubt. You have to wonder. You have to just throw a bunch of stuff out there and see what comes back and see what kind of feedback you got. You have to get negative feedback from people. You have to have people question you right here. You have to question yourself in the mirror right here. Your business has to go, dude, what are you doing here? Do you have any idea what we're doing? Is anybody going to care about this stuff? Is anybody going to buy this stuff? You have to do the actions that are required to get through this survival phase. Almost nobody is doing it because they're caught in this wishy, wanting, I just want to think and feel and manifest my way into business survival. It doesn't work that way, you guys. One of the most important things that you have to figure out right here at the survival phase is, what will people buy? What will they buy? Not what will change their life. What will they buy? Because if we don't figure out what they will buy, none of this matters. Because if people won't buy something, then your business does not have the lifeblood that it needs to get any of this other stuff in motion. So part of this phase is, what will they buy? And there's a huge difference between a meaningful message and a marketable message or a valuable message. A meaningful message is what every single one of you has. Every single one of you have learned lessons that are meaningful that would change people's lives. That doesn't mean anything to your business. What matters is it a marketable message? Will people purchase this message? Is it valuable to other people? Until it's valuable to other people, your business cannot leave this phase. So everything that you focus on that's trying to get you to a measure of success when your business does not have oxygen is irrelevant. And what's so sad to me is that most people are actually set up to do the right things, but they misunderstand the process. And so they're basing their success emotionally on trying to go from step 0 to steps 3 and 4, when it's literally impossible, you guys. But if the literal impossible becomes the expectation, and then the missed expectation becomes emotional destruction, you're going to die right here. Your business is going to die right here. So almost everybody is focusing on, and here's why it's difficult to discern, they're focusing on things that are true and accurate, just misaligned because the timing isn't right. Now, if you like this video, check out that video right there where I share the only 3 business models there are for you to choose as a coach, and almost everybody is misaligned.